1 year ago, three misinformed friends decided to start a podcast talking about nonsense, like peeing your pants, wetting the bed, and the occasional argument about hockey. And here we are a year later, still misinformed, and only going to enjoy even more laughs with you over the next year. Welcome back to Last Man In episode something. We missed last week because of various circumstances. Some things happened, and we weren't that were out of our control. So unfortunately, we weren't able to upload an episode, and that also gives me great displeasure of bringing back voice, sound, and
the Road
editor.
Warrior.
Yay, doggy! He's back! Oh, yeah! And with Russian power instilled in his flyer blood, he is that much stronger. Yeah. What? Ivan Provorov.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, I'm just saying, I called it from like months ago. I was like, guys, this guy looks pretty good. And Bo Diddley, do we have a cornerstone franchise player for the next 10 years? Jacob Trouba, get out of town. There's a new show for you. And his name is Ivan, I don't know, something really cool, Provorov. I'm going to come up with a nickname.
Oscar.
Ivan Oscar Provorov. Oscar.
The Grouch.
Does he have a, click on his, we got technology today because I took no notes whatsoever.
I've got nothing.
Does he have a middle name?
Our preparation over the last 2 weeks has been abysmal.
Abysmal.
You know what? My notes been count. I had great notes last week, and then for unforeseen circumstances, we couldn't do the podcast.
It's okay.
I had like 4 pages of stuff.
Ivan the
Yeah, me
Conqueror
too.
for now.
So,
anyways,
today the stuff we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about kind of the notables from the draft. So the first 10 picks, then who Jets got in the first 2 rounds. The notable trades, because like if you've been following the NHL over the last couple weeks, there hasn't been any trades, so that'll be a really short segment. Nothing significant's happened.
Nothing.
And as you guys know, free agencies today. Once again, nothing really big there. And then I want to touch on a couple stories from the NHL. 2 guys with the name Mike and their stories. So we're going to touch on that. So let's get right into the draft. First 10 picks. Not a real surprise. Connor McDavid going first overall.
No.
Putting on the shitty new Oilers jerseys. Have you seen those?
I don't
Those
like
are
them.
awful.
I don't like them.
I'm not against the one thing I would change aesthetically. They don't look okay because they're the same as like the OKC Barons jerseys. The only thing I would change, do not like the numbers on the shoulder. They're too close.
Yeah.
Like they're too close to like the neck hole. Like when you put your head through, it's weird. Yeah. I wouldn't call them shitty, but they're definite. I wouldn't buy one.
No.
Like some teams when they release jerseys, I'm like, that's nice. That new Oilers one, side by side with pick number 2, Buffalo Sabres thirds, which is no longer. But
To be fair, the old Oiler jersey was nothing to stop
How about
that
the
either.
New York Islander
what's the New York Islanders?
thirds?
They got a new one?
No, they're
classic
old
one?
thirds.
The black and gray.
The black and gray and
Stevie
orange.
Wonders.
I take that one over the Oiler one.
Yeah, so would I.
Yeah.
But like
I don't hate it.
this Oiler jersey is just garbage. Number
pretty
2,
bad.
once again, no surprise there. Jack Eichel going to Buffalo. Tim Murray getting his guy kind of, but not really. But Jack Eichel, Connor McDavid's been the soft-spoken, quiet, humble guy, and Jack Eichel's like, I'm just going to prove to everyone I'm better than Connor McDavid. So
He actually just signed a 3-year entry-level contract
Beautiful.
today.
So
Because he allegedly told Buffalo, if I'm NHL or I'm going back to college.
yeah.
So
And he tore
he
it up
signed
in
a
college.
3-year deal with Buffalo today. So
Wow.
So it means he effectively cannot go back to college and has to stay either in the NHL or go down to his junior team.
It's scary for Buffalo. They've done that before where they signed the guy and they kept him for too long and
Hey, it's no Leon Draisaitl
they've got
situation.
Kane Eichel. They're fine.
Yeah, that's you know what the attitude with Eichel, it's kind of the same with Evander Kane had. He's brash. He's confident.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't know where
It rubbed people the wrong way here, and I think it
Yeah.
would rub some people the wrong way with Jack Eichel, but I think it's a good thing to have it.
especially in Buffalo, they need something.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Buffalo, enjoy that. Number 3 overall, lots of speculation throughout the day and the days before the draft that Phoenix or Arizona, was going to trade this pick. Apparently, Winnipeg offered, Boston offered. Lots of offerings. Nonetheless, they kept it, and they picked Dylan Strome from the Erie Otters. The second of 3 Strome brothers to be picked in the draft.
Would you have gone if you were Arizona? Did they make the right pick? Because the reason they didn't trade away the pick, according to Who's the GM in Arizona? I'm blanking. Don Maloney?
I don't know.
The GM in Arizona said the reason we didn't trade him away is because in the West you need a big center. And he was just too tempting to not at least give him a shot.
Yeah.
So that's why they went with Dylan Strome. The moment they went with Dylan Strome, I was getting worried myself. Because I was like, well, now Toronto's got like 4 guys that pick of the litter, or 3 guys clear cut pick of the litter of, okay, do you want to go D or do you want to go center winger with just ridiculous upside that kind of undersized, but everyone's looking past size these days because Tyler Johnson and other guys are proving that.
Yeah.
So what were you thinking going into the Toronto pick?
Personally, I kind of wrote off Dylan Strome going to Arizona a long time ago. I would have loved for him to be a Toronto Maple Leaf, but at the same time, Toronto's made that mistake before of picking a big centerman. So it's better to go after the smaller, more skilled guys. Plus, I think it's Mike Hunter, who's one of the GMs. It's Mark Hunter?
But it's Mark. He's the one.
Okay. Mark in Toronto kind of has a London Knights connection. So I wasn't surprised with Mitch Marner pick.
The London Knights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with them. I'm really happy with the Mitch Marner pick, and I think that they've got a few really skilled guys to build a team around now. Which led to number 5, where Carolina rushed to the stage to pick this guy. Dan, who was it? Who was the number 5 pick?
Damn it, I hit a button. What did I do?
Dan? No,
Noah
I'm kidding.
Hannafin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We
Which
haven't
is
heard
good
from you in a
because
while.
Carolina needs defensemen.
Carolina needs everything.
Their
Well,
team, after this,
yeah.
we'll talk about it
Yes.
when the trades come up. But Carolina, like I said, I think 6 months ago, watch out for them. They're going to be good in a few years.
We forgot to mention Arizona. I didn't know it was possible. They made their jerseys worse. I do not like the new rebrand. They made them worse.
They just put some black on the shoulders,
they changed the shoulders
right?
and then like the font on the jersey. I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess I'm super biased. Like I grew up to pretty much hate 2 things in hockey: Wayne Gretzky and the Coyotes, because they took the Jets away. Those 2 things are never changing. I don't think. So I didn't.
Fair.
I thought, I'm like, oh, these are brutal. And then the other came out, and I'm like, you know what? The other ones weren't so bad. The other ones weren't so bad at all. And for the Noah Hannafin pick, was that you telling me that he, ever since he would, since he's been 15, he's been training with the same trainer and with Rob Gronkowski, tight end for the New England Patriots.
I did not tell you that.
And since he was 13, he's been taking advanced classes. That was you who told me that.
Oh, he's a...
Yeah, because he wanted to get into college underage. And if you're questioning if this guy's ready for the NHL, let me just tell... Think of most 17-year-olds and where their bodies are at. And he's competing, and he got not only a spot on the team, but a starting spot in the first pairing on Boston University. Right?
Yes.
Boston University.
Yeah, because college was Eichel.
Yeah. He got a starting spot on the first pairing for a very big hockey university at 17, beating out 22, 23-year-olds.
Who were on the team the previous year.
Exactly.
And let's be honest, it's Carolina. He's going to make the team.
Well,
look at that decor. There's nothing there.
Now only time will tell if he signs it, right? That's a double-edged sword at the NCAA.
True.
I do not like. I don't like that.
Yeah.
How you can't go back. That's not fair.
especially with the fact that more players are getting drafted from the NCAA now.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's
Many
becoming
players.
a huge feeder to the NHL.
It's becoming a lot harder it's a great competition between CHL and NCAA. It's now a viable option. Like Canadians, before we'd write it off, we'd be like, well, yeah, you could get your education. That's great. But you only play top end, maybe 60 games.
No, it's like 35 or 40 games.
Oh, yeah, and then I guess
you
like
only
if
play
you
weekends,
make
right?
tournaments, right? Wow. So like even if you go all the way to the championship and you play every game,
I think it's only like 40.
40.
If that. Like it might be only 32, 34. Like it's not a lot of games. And then
So
plus,
like top end, it could be 40. Man, like junior right off the hop, the Q plays the least amount of games at 68.
Yeah.
And that's right up. That's 68 games before playoffs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay,
So
but we got to
anyways,
keep
let's
moving.
continue.
Number 6 is Pavel Zacha.
Thank you, New Jersey, so much.
I'm not surprised by this pick. Pavel Zacha was kind of predicted to go in that mid-range of players. Big center from Sarnia Sting could be very good.
Czech Republic's next thing.
Yeah. Not the next Jaromir Jagr, because no one will ever be.
I'm not saying that, but
a
part of that like Czech Republican like swing of players that will be for the future. Thomas Hertl, Voracek's there,
and then we don't need to talk about the 7th pick.
No,
because Cam will get way too excited about Ivan Provorov.
Greatest pick.
Number 8, Columbus kind of went a little bit off the board getting Zach Werenski, but they were drafting here more position than they were need best player available. So
it was well known that if the Flyers were not taking Provorov or a defenseman, whoever they didn't take, Columbus was going to take.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So with Zach Werenski being there, kind of the best defenseman left in the draft at that time, they take him. He'll help out their decor, be able to play and grow with Jack Johnson and Ryan Murray, who was drafted 2nd overall a few years ago. The number 9, kind of an interesting pick by San Jose, picking up Timo Meier from Halifax. Played alongside Nikolai Ehlers and looked good at times and could be a good addition to that team who's really got an identity crisis right now. Like a really big identity crisis, which we'll get to. Because with the guys they signed in free agency and the guys they traded for, it seems very weird. Number 10, Mikko Rantanen, big centerman for Colorado because they traded a guy away, which we'll get to in a bit. Oh, he's a winger?
Center winger.
Oh, yeah, he's a
He
right
could play
winger.
center, but they
wanted
Colorado's plans to put him on the wing.
It was kind of like Nathan McKinnon, right?
Yes, sir.
Right wing.
Yeah. He played center for Finland.
Yeah.
But mama, he looks great.
So that rounds out the top 10.
And then I just want to touch on the 11th pick, Lawson Krause, falling out of the top 10, but boy is Florida happy he did, because that is going to be a big pick for them, especially if his top end's second line. That's fine for them because they have enough guys on the first lines that are going to do well that Lawson Krause is just going to be able to fit in and play his role.
You say Carolina in a few years, Florida, watch out.
Yeah, I think both those teams are going to be a lot stronger.
How big is Lawson Krause? Because we know
6'4".
And Barkov is around that size too. Wow, imagine those two playing on you.
Crazy.
And then Boston had 3 picks from trades. No one really, they picked really off-the-board guys.
They had 3 in a row.
They were the first team ever to have 3 picks in a row in this draft format.
And they just never really they didn't really, I didn't get it. I didn't like it. They didn't really pick anybody.
There's a big question mark around Boston for me right now.
Well, here's the thing. And then
they're not making a lot of sense.
Picks 16 and 17 were both guys that were both ranked higher than who Boston picked 14, 15. At least Zachar Zobril or whatever his name is. And I'm butchering it, I apologize. At least he's decent. At least, he was slated to go in the top 15, but these other 2 guys were outside of the top 30. So, Matthew Barzal, which really, New York Islanders, that's a great pickup for them. And then Kyle Connor for the Jets. Those guys shouldn't have even been there for those 2 teams to pick. And New York Islanders had that pick from a trade with Edmonton, which we'll touch on as well. But I don't know what Boston's doing, and we'll talk about the trades in a second. I just want to talk about... So Jets picked Kyle Connor, and then their second pick in the first round was...
Jack Roslovic.
Roslovic? Yeah. Also 2 USHL players.
Have you noticed the Jets draft a lot of Americans?
The US
in history, since they've come back.
So this Kyle Connor is committed to Michigan, I believe, for next season. And then Roslovic, I can't remember where he's committed to, but they're both going to play...
Miami of Ohio.
Okay. Thank you. They're both going to play probably a couple of years in college and then come to the Jets, kind of like what Andrew Kopp did, because the immediate need for the Jets isn't right now. It'll be in the future, and both these picks are projected to really help that team out for that 2019 Stanley Cup Final.
Thanks, Hockey News.
Don't put any pressure or anything that year.
No pressure cooker situation on that one.
And then they get one of the bigger steals of the draft, Jansen Harkins, in the second round.
That was... When I saw that he dropped... When he was still available after the first round, I was like, well, I wonder who's going to be the lucky guy to take him. He'll probably go early. And then he slipped all the way to the Jets, and I was like, yes, of course I will accept him.
Big Swedish defenseman.
He's a center, isn't he?
I thought he was a defenseman.
No.
Oh.
He's a centerman.
Yeah.
Oh.
Prince George, right? Or
Prince George Cougars.
Yeah.
What? He's not Swedish?
He's Canadian.
He's Canadian?
Yeah.
With a name like
To be
Jansen
fair, that is
Harkins.
a very Swedish name.
I didn't know he was... Whoa!
He's
Check this out. Look where he was born.
Canadian ice hockey player.
Cleveland, Ohio, but Canadian. With
I'm
a
so
name like
confused.
Jansen Harkins, guys,
That's
he's going to be something. He's a captain.
born
That's
in
a-
America, grew up in Canada.
He's the
Adversity.
next Leo Komarov. Like, Estonian Swede. Like, Leo
Estonian
Komarov has
Swede,
so much.
trained in Finland, raised in Russia.
The hell?
Yeah, so I was completely wrong because when I saw Jansen Harkins, I was like, oh, must be a defenseman.
And he must be
Swedish.
Swede.
And then you guys are telling me he's Canadian. This is why we do this, because I'm wrong all the
There
time.
we go.
We're all wrong all the time.
So
Yeah.
Prince George Cougars, so he'll probably go back to Prince George next year. Probably make the junior team, hopefully.
Yeah,
Another guy to watch.
The advantage to the Jets, which everyone is saying is great when you have at the draft. For the first couple of years, the Jets were drafting like they needed to hit on their picks because they knew they were going to be in the system. Within 3 years, they needed something because Atlanta, no offense to them, they didn't leave much in the cupboard for us to pick from.
No.
So now, because they've been
Yeah,
so
way to go, Thrashers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now they've been so good at drafting and picking up those guys that now when they're drafting, they can take guys like they can take a flyer on a guy like we're not even taking a flyer, but they can take a flyer on say Jansen Harkins and be like, you know what, you can play 4 years or 3 more years in junior. Go ahead.
Or,
go to college. That's okay. We got time because now, as you see, and all these signings we'll get to, they're stocking up and they're fine.
Well,
they're going to be great.
Craig Button was on TSN 1290 on Monday, and he said that, like, Kyle Connor, Jansen Harkins, and Roslovic, these guys are all increasing what's in the cupboard for, like, Winnipeg. They got to get a bigger cupboard because that's how many guys there are that could play in the NHL. So, pretty impressive that they
never a bad
continue.
thing.
But one thing that I heard on TSN 1290 before the draft, the Jets have 20 scouts. 20. Do you know how many the Leafs have?
If the Jets have 20, I feel like this should be a bigger number, but it's going to be smaller. I'm going to say 11.
They have 10, and the Jets have 20. And you wonder why the Jets' scouting and being able to pick guys has been so good. It's because they have one of the best scouting teams in the league. Picking up guys like Connor Hellebuck and Nick Patam. But we do have to move on to some of the big trades. So hit that trade tracker there, please, Dan.
Here we go. Do we want to go like today and
No,
go backwards?
We'll start with what happened draft day. So we'll start with the first trade. Dougie Hamilton being sent to Calgary for a first and 2 seconds, right?
Yes.
2015 first, 2015 second round picks.
Yes.
What the hell, Boston?
Boston looked at this.
What are you doing?
I see Boston a little bit of why they did this. They knew they couldn't get a deal done with Dougie. There was a separation in the room, and they knew that Doug Hamilton was going to get a offer sheet. Well, the offer sheet would have been a first, a second, and a third. So they didn't even really do that much better
next year, not this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they didn't do that much better than the offer sheet, but at the same time, they didn't have the cap to keep him, so they got rid of him.
There were
Return
rumblings
was
though
very
that
weak.
Dougie Hamilton didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Long term.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the contract that he signed yesterday was 6 years, average annual hit of $575,
Which is great.
apparently
it's a great
Boston.
deal.
Yeah,
That's a Toby Enstrom deal for a guy that's better than Toby Enstrom.
Younger and probably going to be better.
Hopefully.
Way better.
Yeah.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently in the room though, Boston allegedly offered him 5 years at 5.5, which so there might be there. Allegedly, it
something's
sounds
going
like
on there.
maybe he didn't want to go back.
Yeah.
That's
So-
all indications are he didn't want to be there.
And then so that made Calgary automatically better. Another trade that happened earlier that day sent Robin Lehner to Buffalo for Robin Lehner, David Laguan to Buffalo for the first round pick, 21st overall, which was a good pick by Ottawa.
Is that?
And then before that,
for Buffalo, it doesn't matter. They drafted Jack Eichel.
Jack Eichel.
There we go.
They got rid of both their
So
other first rounders, picked up a goalie, and got Evander Kane out of the deal. So
bad.
I think they did a really good job of asset management. You know, they turned a first round pick into a proven goal scorer in the NHL, turned a first round pick into a maybe decent goaltender, and then the other first round pick into a generational center. A lot of talk saying that Jack Eichel, he would have been picked first overall in like 7 of the last 10 drafts. Noah Hannafin probably would have been up there with like Nail Yakupov for first overall.
But
if
it just so
different drafting
happens,
that
Connor McDavid.
Yeah, he's just in a league
Is
of
there
his own.
anything that happened
Before that was Carl Soderberg to Colorado for a 6th round pick.
Greg, if you have to take a breath, you can, you know.
The big one with this deal was Colorado felt that they could get rid of Ryan O'Reilly, which they ended up doing. And then they got Carl Soderberg, kind of overpaid for him. But the trade was decent, got Carl Soderberg off the books for Boston because he was a pending UFA. So that was big. And then Colorado makes splashes with the Ryan O'Reilly deal to Buffalo for Mikhail Grigorenko and
Nikita Zadorov,
JT Compher, and a 2015 second round pick.
And Jamie McGinn going Buffalo as
That's
well.
a good deal for Buffalo.
They have
It's
to
a good
sign
deal, both
Ryan O'Reilly to
Colorado.
Yeah, I think they're going to, or they already have.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, I think Zadorov's the big piece for Colorado.
Well, yeah, they need
Grigorenko,
help with
you know.
defense.
Well, Grigorenko, though, is because Raw coached him for Quebec Ramparts in junior, and he loved him. He loved his game.
I mean, I'd say, that trade
That was
probably
a good deal
worked
for
both
both.
ways. Both
yeah,
ways.
I like that.
You know what? I have to say this.
Because I think Ryan O'Reilly's overpaid. I do. He's good, but I don't think he's as good as people think
he's
he
not
is.
a $6 million player.
No, he's a $3.5, $4
really?
million.
No,
$6
I would say he's a $5 million. I think his deal was like $6.
I guess.
I guess we'll see if he signs it. Or if
I can't remember if he signed, but this just I think Buffalo Sabres and Tim Murray they're one of the smarter. He's got to be one of the smarter GMs, even though kind of the things that he's done is a little bit of a sideshow. But he's been able to pull off some pretty big deals. This deal, the Ryan O'Reilly deal, it's not always picks, it's players. Go on both sides is beneficial for both teams, and the Jets trade. Both trades were executed by Tim Murray, both of them improved.
That team could be good this year.
It's very questionable how good Robin Lehner will be, though. So
if their goaltending holds up,
I hope you. I want to see everyone do good because then the league's
And then
better.
can we talk about the trade that just boggles my mind?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't get it at all. The Bruins trade Lucic to the Kings because the Kings need Lucic, right? No, they don't. For a first-round pick, okay, and a goalie, Martin Jones. They don't need a goalie, which they ended up flipping him again, I guess. So it makes more sense now. But I don't know. This boggles my mind a little bit.
The Lucic trade, I guess Kings are in a win now mentality. They got to win again next. They feel like they can win again next year.
They got
picking up an aging power forward whose really his best days are behind him. They've got him for 1 year, so they're kind of hoping they can win the cup with him. But I don't know.
Oh, there's only 1 year too, and I'm with Dan. That Martin Jones pickup was really something else. I didn't.
They wanted to flip him.
That was odd, and they did end up flipping him, which I'm sure we'll get to.
But I think the main piece of that pick was the first overall, the first rounder, which meant Boston had 3 first rounders in a row. And what they tried to do is package that to Arizona to try to get Noah Hannafin, and they just weren't able to. And then there's no way Toronto or Carolina was going to trade.
So they weren't going rebuild. They were just trying to get a higher draft.
They were just trying to get Noah Hannafin because they lost Dougie Hamilton.
Mm-hmm. Oh man! And then they just missed.
So why didn't they draft a defenseman?
No offense.
They did draft one.
Did they?
Yeah, Jakob Zobrel. I don't know how to say it either.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Jakob. But all the guys that they drafted too, they like what Greg said earlier, they just missed. I don't get it. You could have had guys who are back seem to have a better chance, but I don't know. I'm not on their drafting team.
You're not a professional scout. These guys are.
Exactly. All right. What else happened?
Edmonton.
Griffin Reinhart went from the Islanders to the Oilers.
Yeah. Next trade.
For picks. Great pickup. For the Oilers.
Great pickup.
The reason Islanders did that was because Boston passed on Matt Barzal, and they're like, oh, well, let's make a phone call. Because Edmonton had the 17th pick.
They had 16th.
So they called 16th. They called them up, and they were like, Griffin Reinhart, because we signed Nick Leddy and Johnny Boychuk, and it seems like Griffin Reinhart's going to be stuck in the AHL for a while, because...
Yeah.
Hey, so
Calvin
do you want
DeHaan's
him?
playing well, too.
Yeah, Calvin DeHaan, Travis Hamonic. So it's like, hey, you know what? Do you want him? We know you have a... We already know the city of Edmonton likes Reinhardt because he was a captain of the Oil Kings when they won the Memorial Cup with Curtis Lazar there. Anyways, great deal for both teams. And
Edmonton
Islanders,
needs defensemen, so that's...
Islanders, Matt Barzal, man, if he turns out to be something, yikes.
Like they're projecting him to be.
Yeah.
Kind of a nothing trade there.
Kyle Palmieri to the Devils.
Eddie Lack to Carolina. That was...
for 3rd and 7th rounder. Very
surprising, but...
Yeah. So it means Carolina now potentially has a number 1 goalie that's not Cam Ward or Anton Khudobin.
Anthony Niemi, his negotiating rights were traded to Dallas for a 7th-round pick, and Dallas ended up signing him for a 3-year deal, I think, around $3 million a year.
$10 million on their 2 goalies.
Oh, yeah, 10.4 total, right.
Are they gonna...
Between their 2 goalies. They want a 2-goalie system because
you don't see Lettinen being...
their GM said this. He said, it's now a 2-goalie league. You need 2 good goalies to play or you're not going to be able to compete.
I would agree with that.
I
but
agree
there
with the
weren't
statement.
I agree with the
Carey
state-
Prices and Henrik Lundqvist.
Yes, but those
and
are
But how
John
many of those
Force.
are there?
Yeah.
There's not many. You know.
But also, I don't like breeding competition within goalies.
Yeah.
Within forwards, okay. Goalies, though, that's a different ballgame.
Anton Khudobin from Carolina to Anaheim for James Wisniewski, so Carolina gets a defenseman, a veteran, so that'll help out some of their younger guys. The one that broke Cammy's heart.
Oh man, the only way it could have gotten worse was if Hagelin went to Canucks. That's the only way it got worse.
Carl Hagelin to Anaheim for Emerson Edom, a couple draft picks swapped back and forth too.
Basically, Anaheim, they realized they have the team, but they want to add a few more pieces, so they subtracted the pieces that they think hurt them. Carl Hagelin...
Actually, I heard
go.
the Rangers didn't want to pay Hagelin because he's an RFA and he's going to get big money.
Oh, well,
And
that makes sense,
They didn't
too.
want to pay him.
Well, and imagine...
Or
that
they
third-
can't afford to pay him.
That third
One of the
line now is going to be interesting. Yuri Sekach, Cogliano, and Hagelin. Something scary about when Sekach is the slowest guy on the line.
Yuri Sekach got... When did he... Oh, yeah, because he
with
was flipped for
Devontae
Devontae
Santelli.
Pellet.
Yeah, which was that one didn't make sense.
Then Cam Talbot went to the Edmonton Oilers. Bunch of picks involved.
Oilers get potentially their goalie.
Could be a great number one. Keep in mind, LA had a great decor in front of
That
him.
was... New York had a great decor in front of him.
Sorry, yeah. New York.
They have 6 goalie system.
Uh,
We've been joking about that for years now.
Yeah, so we'll see how he does in Edmonton where he gets minimal help.
And then the only kind of
Wait,
other
that one I
notable...
wanna talk about
The
real
only
quick.
notable other one was...
The Chris Pronger trade.
Okay.
Who thought we'd be able to say that in 2015?
Yeah.
Just saying.
So, Flyers god that is Ron Hextall traded Nicholas Grossman and Chris Pronger with all of his contract to the Coyotes for Sam Gagne and a conditional 2016, and they will be keeping Gagne. They've confirmed they're not going
Well,
to
why
buy him
not?
out.
He's a
He's
solid,
25. He's
solid hockey
caps
player.
at 3.3. It'll be interesting to see. But, they cleared up roughly $7 million in cap space by making that move, which is
Good
great.
for them. San Jose Sharks acquiring Martin Jones from Boston for a prospect and a first-round pick.
next year.
Yeah, next year.
Oh,
the next
the
trade.
Sharks did?
Yeah.
Yep.
So they flipped him back, and then they signed him 3 years,
Yeah.
$9 million total.
Something like
Yeah,
that,
so,
yeah.
So
he's
first.
going to be the guy
Who's
in
the
San
goalie
Jose.
in Sharks besides?
Stalock. Alex Stalock.
Oh yeah, he's not ready.
But
yet.
Jones
He's-
is going to be the guy.
Jones
Yeah.
is good.
And then
Here's the mind-boggler from yesterday.
Blue Jackets acquire Brandon Saad. Then two prospects
for
for-
Mark Dano, Artem Anisimov, Corey Trop, Jeremy Moran, and a 2016 fourth-round pick. Wasn't Jeremy Moran traded to Chicago for
He sure
Bufflin
was.
5 years ago?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
and then now
so
he's
I
back
guess,
there.
So I guess they wanted him back. Eh?
But the thing is this is a deal because Brandon Saad wants money. He wants like $6 million.
At
Six-
like 6 years.
6.5, I heard. Which to
And
me, he's not worth that much money.
Not yet.
Not yet.
That's why
and-
bridge deals are so great, but
Yeah.
no.
And some
Players
people-
are greedy, so
we love bridge deals. Like I don't get how he wants 6 years, 6.5. Like I guess his argument for his agent could be like, yo, look what he did. He was on Chicago. He's won 2 cups. He's 23, but it's like
But look at
yes,
his point production.
yes,
He's a
but
50-point
Kane,
guy.
Taves, Crawford, Keith, Seabrook. It's
I
like
wouldn't put Crawford in there, but yeah.
wow, okay, fine. Either
Crawford's
way.
a modern day Chris Osgood.
Okay, well then there you go. Either way, the
Sod's
other guys,
yeah.
he's a product of his teammates.
25 goal
100%.
scorer, 50-point guy. That's not worth $6.5 million.
Then the Anaheim Ducks continue their morph into the 2011 Vancouver Canucks by picking up Kevin Bieksa for a pick.
2016 second rounder.
And then the big one today.
the big mama.
The big
Let's talk.
boy. We've been
I want to
waiting
touch
for
on this shortly.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to spend a lot
Let's
of time
get
on
the
this.
one more minor trade out of the way
Okay.
first. Montreal traded Brandon Pruss to Calgary for Zach Cassian and a 5th rounder next year. So swapping
Canucks.
swapping goons. That's interesting. Now the big one.
So Pittsburgh Penguins and Toronto Maple Leafs do a trade. A heartbreaker for me. So Phil Kessel gets moved to Pittsburgh, along with Tim Erickson, which is a guy that Toronto just signed, and they got him last year from New York, which was kind of weird. And Tyler Biggs. If you
What?
remember Tyler...
Biggs was in there?
Yeah. If you remember who Tyler Biggs is, that's the guy that Toronto traded 2 draft picks for a couple drafts ago to pick at like 22nd. Tyler Biggs is not playing an NHL game. The 2 players that were traded for him are Ricard Brickell and John Gibson from Anaheim. Both guys have played not only in the playoffs, but regularly the last 2 seasons. So that's great. Because Tyler
Thanks.
Biggs still has not seen any. I don't even think he's seen AHL time for that matter.
Yeah, I think he had 5 points in the A last year. So
Good for him.
Very impressive.
But in return, Toronto gets 3 prospects and 2 picks. Scott Harrington, Kasperi Kapanen, Nick Spaulding, first round pick.
Conditional. What's
The
the
Conditional.
condition is if it's lottery protected, so if Pittsburgh's in the top 3 picks, I believe it gets reverted to the year
The
after.
year after, yeah.
But there's no way in hell Pittsburgh's going to be in the bottom 3 picks with Kessel, Crosby, and fucking Malkin.
And then third round pick. The other
Right.
stipulation of this deal is that $1.25 million for the next 7 years is staying on Toronto's cap for Phil
so
Kessel.
15%.
Which isn't really that bad considering the fact that they still are paying fucking Tim Gleason because that was a great trade. Fuck Tim Gleason. That was such a shitty trade.
Mike Commissaric.
My Commissari's officially off the books
Oh,
now.
okay.
You know what? And the other thing is they're lucky they had compliance bylaws
Oh,
because they
my,
bought
my.
Mikhail Grabowski.
This just in.
Okay,
Bop,
that's just
bop.
in.
Red Wings 3-year deal, $18 million. Mike Green.
Ooh.
Whoa, Wings,
Whoa.
they get their right-handed shot. Wait, he's righty, right?
Yeah.
Correct? Yes?
That makes that team interesting.
Wow. What?
Ooh.
Why the Wings?
Maybe he thinks he can win there. Take our thunder, Detroit. Let's get
Sorry.
back to this.
I
Let's
had
get
to,
back.
I had to.
Yeah, no. That's
Okay, Jeff O'Neill, O-Dog, as they said, as they call him, was saying, Phil Kessel, I mean, he wasn't the leader that Toronto needed. I agree with that. But the one thing I don't get is that he was like, yeah, he'll be a 40 or 50 goal scorer, finally be like a point per game guy. He's going to actually get stuff done in Pittsburgh. And I was like, well, what the hell has he been doing in Toronto then? Oh, that's right. Everything that came out of your stupid mouth. That's what came.
Point a game player,
Sorry,
except for
Will
one
O'Neill,
season.
you hurt my feelings today.
Everyone, looks at one season and like, oh, that's him. It's like, no, he had 80 points the year before that, 75 the year. It's just he's a point per game producer in every season. He's played every single game since he went to Toronto, and yet he was the first guy they wanted out. Whatever, that's fine.
That's another great thing. Yeah, he hasn't missed a game since Toronto. Pittsburgh, Crosby or Malkin always go down. At least one of them every year. So now it actually, even if one center goes down, put Kessel with the other guy. And guess what? He's still going to score. Now he doesn't have Tyler Bozak with him.
Do you think they got enough for Kessel?
That's
my question.
Okay,
I wish they had gotten more. I wish they had gotten roster guys, or gotten Oli Mata.
I thought Mata was going.
You can't be picky with a trade like this. Toronto wanted him gone, so they took the best deal.
And because that's the downside.
So that's
too,
the shitty thing is
because
everyone knew they wanted to move.
They
Toronto.
showed their cards too early, and it was like, Ugh. But what I do like, I think what's more for Toronto, apart from getting rid of the problem of Kessler, which is garbage, but apart from trading him, I think it's more his getting that money off the books. So now they have, how much does he make a year? 6.75?
No, he was at $8 million.
Oh, 8.
He's at $8 million, so now it'll be 6.75 that
Cleared.
Pittsburgh has to
That's
pay him,
some good cash.
Yeah, very good stuff. So, I guess that's good in the sense that now they have a bunch of cap room to play with, especially with now Nate Thornton. They don't have David Clarkson's contract. They don't have his Phil Kessel's contract. They still want to clear off Tyler Bozak. But the thing is this team needs to field somewhat of an NHL team next year and not just tank for Austin Matthews, who is projected to be first overall next year.
Toronto's going to tank for him, or they're going to...
No, they're not even trying. They don't have guys right now to even fill an NHL roster. Really.
Oh, the Leafs.
Their first line right now, I believe, because they just signed Richard Panik, is probably Bozak, Van Riemsdyk, Panik.
Well, there's been rumblings that Bozak might be going to Arizona.
Exactly. So they don't
maybe
really
they'll
have
send
anyone.
over Bodker or someone
Something.
a stopgap. Hopefully, that'd be nice. I'd like that.
So Toronto's in full rebuild mode, and their projection is they're going to be a contender, and I think it's going to be hilarious. I'm going to make this prediction now that in 6 years, when Toronto at the deadline need a goal scorer, they'll call up Pittsburgh back. So Phil Kessel for a first round pick, deal. And then Phil Kessel will be able to raise the Stanley Cup with the Toronto Maple Leafs because he was a deadline deal pick. Pick up, please.
Okay. So
That's
are you
bold.
okay being a Leafs fan for your whole life? Not that they've always been like they've been good, but then recently they've been bad. Are you glad that now they're turning it around and just committing to one plan instead of being wishy-washy about everything?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about them going to like a hybrid rebuild. I'm like, no! Either blow it up or blow it up. Don't fucking be like, no, now we're going to pick some like guys like Eric Stahl and Jordan Stahl, we're going to bring them up. No, commit to it. Get your team young and build up together.
Well,
they're
definitely
years.
blowing it up. That's
Yes.
clear.
Now they just need to move Dion Phaneuf, who might stay, which isn't that big of a deal because you do kind of need a veteran voice in the room. So we'll see. We'll see how long it takes these guys to play, and if they actually pan out to be decent prospects, could be a good thing. But we don't really know yet. I kind of want to just so move away from the trades now, as that was the last one. I just want to go to some of the key things from free agency so far. So Stafford re-signed with the Jets. Alexander Burmistrov re-signed with the Jets.
What's that contract?
I think it's like $2 million.
2 years, 1.55 average.
Wow. They're paying Chris Sorburn $20,000 less.
My question, because Michael Furleek ended up going to Calgary, which will
Calgary. No, we can talk.
Terms later. Like,
No, five
years,
and
4.3, which
Yeah.
allegedly is around what the Jets offered him in salary for like
he wanted
yearly
20 years.
average, but the Jets only offered him about 2 or 3 year contract.
Because the Jets don't want to get themselves locked in.
So
And that's big.
I love that.
Jets re-signed Adam Party 1 year, $1 million, which I think is great. That's a great deal. Matt Halleschuk, a 2-way contract. If they need to call him up, he's dependable. But
if he doesn't get hurt,
if they're not going to do anything else, which it doesn't look like they are at the moment, is Burmistrov going to be the guy that they say you have to take for a league spot? You have to fill those shoes? Because Ehlers is not going to fill for league shoes. Ehlers is going to be offensive point.
But they don't need like. I think a lot of people in Winnipeg have blinders when it comes to Furleek. In the playoffs, he wasn't that great. The last 10 games this season, he wasn't that great. I still don't think he's worth over $4 million. For a guy that's only going to produce offensively 20 goals and can't compete with the bigger guys of the West.
He hasn't even hit 20.
Yeah.
He gets 15 to 16.
And it's not all about goal production, but the thing is when he had to compete against the Perrys and the Getzlavs, he just fell short. He just did. And he wasn't able to keep up with them. He wasn't able to play to their game. And he can't be relied on as one of the top guys. So,
I think people like him. He's a nice guy. He's a great teammate.
Yeah.
But I do think he's overvalued.
Yeah.
He's a great second-line defensive hockey player, but he's nothing more than that. He's not like him leaving does not kill the Jets.
No.
Him going to Calgary does not make Calgary that much better.
No.
It gives them an extra piece and gives them some depth, but I don't think he's as big of
he's a depth
honestly,
guy.
if you told me I had to pick between Drew Stafford and Michael Furleek for the same amount of money, I'm taking Drew Stafford.
Yeah.
He's averaged 20 goals a year in his NHL career. He's gonna get you. I just feel like he's more for the price they paid because they're both getting the same amount of money. I feel like he's the better bet for the Jets. I really do.
Term-wise, because the Jets are looking at, okay, well, we don't want to lock into this because we have a bunch of guys coming up, right? And Drew Stafford understands that, so they paid a little bit more because if they had done term, it would have been like $4 million. But do you really want to sign an aging forward to a 5-year deal? And this is the question the Jets are going to have to ask themselves when Bufflin and Ladd come up for deals as well. Is are we willing to give them a little bit more contract now to take away term? Because we don't want to be paying these guys into their 30s so they have immovable contracts.
My understanding,
like the Joe Thorntons.
The Drew Stafford thing, according to Drew Stafford, the 2 years was a mutual decision. Okay. He feels he can step his game up, and I guess what they're saying is it's not like in 2 years they're just going to part ways. In 2 years, if he stepped his game up, the Jets are more than willing to pay him more money to stay. Yeah. If he doesn't, maybe he stays for less money, maybe he moves on. So it's almost a bridge contract. To say, because he found his game again when he came here. He was on a 60-point pace, So they're saying if you can do that for 2 years, and he wants to prove himself.
Yeah.
Because allegedly he had four other offers on the table that he could have taken, and he chose Winnipeg's offer over. And I don't know what the term or anything was on the other deals. Mm. So he wants to be here. He wants to prove he can step his game up. So it's a mini bridge almost. They're 29 years old.
Regarding how you guys said if Burmie's going to step in for Frolik, maybe that'd be great just to see what he can do with Maurice as opposed to who was his coach when he first started in Atlanta.
Craig Ramsey.
Okay, so not to be mean, I guess he's never officially had a legit NHL coach or a true one. What just popped in my mind? When he went away for the 2 years, because Burmy got rushed in when he was 18, he wasn't ready for the NHL. But Atlanta, with their draft picks, they needed to put asses in seats. And what do you do that? Hey, hot young new prospect, come look at this shiny thing we have. They didn't really let him develop. I think him going away to Russia, sure, it pissed off people in Winnipeg for sure, especially management, I'm assuming. But I believe it was more of a deal of with Noel. But we all heard rumblings that he wasn't very good in the room. Maybe him going to Russia is kind of like a kid going away to college and just kind of growing up a little bit. And this is what I think has happened. And he's probably going to come back with new attitude. The whole team, like there's maybe only half the team is still there since he's been there. And it's new attitude, younger guys. He'll be more relatable. I'm excited to see what happens with this.
And it's not a contract that they look at and they say, well, we need it. Like, they can put him in the AHL, it's not going to hurt them. They can throw him on waivers, it's not going to hurt them. And they can try to trade it, and it's not going to hurt them. So it's a win-win for Winnipeg in the sense that they can see what Burmy can do. And in the sense that if he doesn't do anything, well, then they get rid of him. So other than that, the other big kind of signings.
I just wanted a couple more Jets notes. Jim Slater won't be back. Lee Stempniak probably won't be back, which surprises me very much. But I guess if Burmistrov's coming back, that might explain that. Yuri Talusti, at this point, they're not bringing him back, but they're open to maybe in the future, which I think is a mistake. But, so Jets are... Andrew Ladd, the Jets' main focus right now is getting Andrew Ladd signed to an extension. Apparently, Andrew Ladd is the one who wants the extension done before the season starts. He wants to stay, doesn't want to go to UFA, doesn't want to test free agency. He wants to get an extension done before the season starts. So
he'll probably get around 5.5 to 6.
It's probably $6 million a year.
And I still think that we could see a Bufflin trade because
they haven't talked to Bufflin yet. They're going to do Ladd and then they're going to revisit Bufflin. So.
It's just Bufflin's going to want, and it's so dangerous because he's going to want like $7 million for 7 years, and that's going to take him to 38. And I'm not paying a 38-year-old defenseman $7 million. That's the way I look at it. And you can't have those decreasing term contracts anymore.
And there's the Jacob Trouba, and if you look at
and Mark Scheifele,
if you look at Dougie Hamilton's deal, Trouba's probably getting more.
Or around that.
That's a good starting point.
He's getting around that, if not more.
I'm totally comfortable saying, hypothetically, if the way he's projecting, I'm okay paying Trouba $6 million.
Oh, yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Well, I'm sorry, in an NHL that can pay Andre Sekera for like $6.5 million.
Yeah, what was that?
$5.5 million.
For 6 years.
5.5 for 6 years.
Andre Sekera to the Oilers.
Wow. They overpaid because they needed a defenseman.
Oh. And then Zbigniew Michalek went back to... So he got traded to St. Louis and he signed with Phoenix again, with Arizona.
I think he's gone back to Arizona 3 times now.
He go back down there?
3 times.
I just
Kari Ramo was signed by Calgary for 3.8. 3.8.
This one just passed over my head here. Mike Riley.
Yep.
The guy who Columbus Blue Jacket.
Yeah.
He signed with the hometown Minnesota, or he's staying in Minnesota because he played for the Golden Gophers.
Yep.
That's the one that I kind of got excited about a couple seconds ago. I was like, oh, look at that! Oh wow!
And then Granlund was re-signed for $3 million for 2 years.
Yeah,
bridge contract.
The Minnesota Granlund. Let's be
not
serious
Marcus.
Here.
Yeah,
let's be serious.
I'm just trying to look if there's any other like big signings. Thomas Hickey re-signing with New York.
Oh, Paul Martin,
San Jose, 4 years, $4.5 million a year.
Why are you? What again? Identity crisis. What's going on at the Sharks?
Yeah, because they don't really know what they want to do. Do they want to rebuild, or are they trying to just build?
I don't think they want to rebuild.
Whoa! Flyers got a backup goalie, Michael Neuwirth, 2 years, 1.625. That's awesome. You guys, do you hear that? Do you hear that? It's the door hitting Ray Emery on the way out. There it is.
Anders Lindback signing with Phoenix. Michael Frolik going to Calgary. Steve Downey going to Arizona for a 1-year deal.
The youngins.
Barrett Jackman signing in Nashville, just increasing that team's...
Downey went to Arizona?
Yeah, Downey went to Arizona.
Barrett Jackman, that's a good pickup for Nashville.
Very good. Jonas Enroth signing with LA.
Burmy. There it is.
P.A. Parento going to Toronto.
There's your first line right winger.
Yeah, woo. Patrick Eaves re-signing with Dallas. So that's where we are now. Eric Condra, no big ones. Ooh.
Tell the listeners, don't just
to Tampa. Cody Hodgson signing in Nashville for 1 year, $1 million.
He got bought out, so he's getting some bank. Victor Tikhonov.
Eric O'Dell signing with Ottawa
Yep.
for $700,000.
Whoa! Stop the press. Zach Stortini's back in the NHL.
Zach Stortini.
Ruslan Fedotenko is back in the NHL.
Yeah, that's the big one.
With Minnesota, 1 year.
Mike Koska, 1 year, $800K with Ottawa.
Mike Green's the big one now.
Mike Green's a 3 year, $6 million. And Matt Bolesky is still the question mark where he's going to end up.
Question mark.
So,
Matt Bolesky.
With all the moves that's happening...
Brad Richards allegedly is talking with the Red Wings. So that'd be interesting.
So if we're going to wrap up like all the trades and signings so far, we'll go, I guess, team by team here. Or we can all talk about the Jets. Do you like what the Jets have done with draft, free agency, how they've dealt with it?
Yeah, I have their team, and I think I'm missing a few players, but this is their forwards that are signed as is right now. Wheeler, Little, Ladd, Scheif, Stafford, Perreault, Ehlers, Peluso, Burmy, Thorbs. Am I missing anyone?
Lowry.
Lowry's
a center.
That's fine.
Cop.
Wait, so the third line is Lowry, Perreault.
Ehlers. Right now, that's what I have it as.
No,
but what could happen is...
Ladd, Little, Wheeler, Perreault, Scheifele, Ehlers.
Okay,
Stafford,
so just swap out Lowry.
Burmy, Lowry, Stafford, and then Peluso, Cop, Thorburn. That's my prediction.
That's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's either Cop or Cormier.
You guys.
Cormier's a free agent.
So it is confirmed Jim Slater's not coming back.
As of now, no. I mean, they always could circle around. I did hear with Lee Stempniak they might circle back.
Yeah.
Which honestly,
or Yuri Tulusti could also come back.
Honestly, they should keep if they can get Stempniak. If Stempniak does not get offered another contract,
they should just try to get him.
Which I think is why they're letting him go because he was great for the Jets.
Yeah,
if they can get more, but I would get him back because he was great.
If they can sign him for like $2.5 million, that'd be great.
Oh, they can probably get him for $1 million.
Yeah,
maybe a little over. Like he was a great fit.
Okay, Greg, thoughts on the Leafs over there? Do you like what they're doing? It's going to be a long season.
Interesting.
It's going to be a long few seasons.
It's going to be a tough couple of years, but I'm prepared to endure it because I can cheer for both the Leafs, or both the Jets and the Avs, who've kind of increased what they've done, gotten a little bit better. So that, to me, is good. It'll be very interesting to see. Now, I just do want to note this before we move on, and I want to talk about a controversy thing. Pittsburgh is signing a lot of guys to like $600,000 deals because they have no cap. And they have nobody to play underneath Kessel, Malkin, Letang, Fleury, and Crosby.
Yep.
That's their top 5 guys, and that's eating probably $40 or $50 million of their cap. They're at the cap floor with those guys, I believe.
That's rough. I don't like when teams do that.
No,
We've already talked about this plenty of times.
I could still see Malkin moving.
Evgeny Malkin. Where to? Florida. Because Florida is...
For Barkov and Bukestad?
Florida is the new Boston.
Yeah.
Boston, New York, where they're like... Or in Philly, too, where they're like...
Fact that
trade rumor? Yes, we're listening. Like, get out of here, Meerkat. Get out. Go.
The fact that they're signing so many
Dave
guys...
Talent.
Yeah.
The fact they're signing so many guys to small contracts, they're going to rely on Malkin, Crosby, Kessel to carry that team, and then... Because honestly, that team has never been deep beyond the first line or second line. They've never have.
We've talked about this plenty of
times. Minus Mark Recchi when he
was
and Bill Guerin.
Adding Kessel's going to make them them even less deep because they're not going to be able to afford anything else.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And honestly, their defense right now, Paul Martin was one of their big guys last year, and he's gone.
Is Christian Ehrhoff also a free agent?
Yep, he's not coming back.
He'll probably end up going to maybe back to Buffalo. You never know, for less money.
Yeah.
Maybe you never know.
Okay.
All right.
But I do want to move on.
I like everything the Flyers did. You already know that.
We're almost running out of time here, so I just want to touch on 2 quick things. One of the signings I didn't mention because I'm in the same boat as some people thinking that this guy shouldn't even be allowed to play in the NHL right now. Mike Ribeiro, allegedly getting charged and going to trial for sexually assaulting his nanny when he was playing for the Washington Capitals and the Arizona Coyotes.
Same lady?
Same lady, because he made her travel with them.
Oh.
Apparently one night after Mike Ribeiro and his wife went out for dinner, our team party or something like that, he got drunk, went downstairs where the nanny was sleeping, and decided to sexually assault her. Pretty shitty situation, yet it's kind of getting swept under the rug, which is absolutely ridiculous. If it's not true, then he should come out and say it's not true. But if I'm Nashville, why am I associating myself with somebody who's getting even accused of it?
Arizona disassociated themselves with him by just stating mental issue or like problematic issues. to like they
didn't want-
distanced themselves
didn't
by
wanna-
not even saying it.
They didn't want a piece of what's happening, and I feel bad for Mike Ribeiro. I want him to succeed, but if this kind of stuff is happening, then the NHL shouldn't try to sweep it under the rug like the NFL does. They should bring it out and say, you know what, this guy shouldn't be allowed to sign until this is done. He's signed a deal with Nashville. He's on a team, so I could see him getting suspended if this actually comes true.
I haven't heard of these allegations, so maybe it's just like I never heard it, so maybe it's not really. Maybe it's just rumors right now. Maybe it's not actually.
I hope
No,
it's-
there is a lawsuit against him that
Okay.
has been filed.
I didn't hear that, so I was wondering maybe that's not well known at this point. But okay.
Wow.
I'm like, maybe Nashville went to them and was like, well, the rumor's true, and he'd probably be like, no, they're not. Like, never happened. I'm not sure.
Well, and I'm sure if he is convicted, then it's a Slava Voinov situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want them to take. I don't let. As you mentioned, the NFL sweep it under the rug. I want like stuff like this. Needs to be taken immediate action. Like this is against the law. Like you.
Yeah, you can.
You probably most likely ruined this young person's or this person's life or given them a scarring memory. Like for being just. I've never liked Mike Ribeiro, period. So. It doesn't surprise me that he's a piece of shit on and off the ice, so that's cool.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I will second those comments exactly. I don't even have to say anything now.
But there's another Mike making the headlines. Mike Richards. Contract officially terminated with the LA Kings, so they didn't even have to buy him out. They just terminated his
And
contract.
what was the words that they used? Material breach?
A material breach of the
contract
crime.
breach.
Yeah.
Material contract.
Which allegedly there was an incident involving the Canadian border and oxycodone pills. No more details have been released. That's just what is so. But
Allegedly, he slipped them up his ass trying to get across the border, so he tried to sneak them in that way. This is what I heard on 92 City FM. So I
a
don't know. how
local
true it is.
Winnipeg radio station.
Yeah.
Here. So this is all alleged.
so it's not
It's all
very, so
alleged.
it's not very credible. But I mean,
But they're getting their
the
they're
guys
getting their
know-
stuff from.
the guy has a history of being a party animal. That's why he's traded out of Philadelphia. I mean,
Probably part of the reason why he
Like-
got out of shape and was sent down to play with Manchester.
you know what?
Which he only played 16 games and he didn't play one playoff game.
No.
All
I
I'm
did
sa-
not know that. I found that out this morning.
I hear
Don't scrutinize the guy. Get the guy help.
Yeah.
No, and that's what the NHL does.
he
Though
needs
they
help.
have a great program.
Yeah.
Always.
He went from being
So-
a captain of the Flyers, a great hockey player, and he's fallen very far.
Yeah.
But
They need
don't
to
sit
they need
there
to
and
reach out.
criticize him. Get him help.
Yeah, this is a human being we're talking about, and I think people are so quick to criticize, but the truth is that clearly there's something wrong with this 26, 27-year-old. Like the guy hasn't even completed like half of his life yet, and we're fucking ripping the shit out of him because of a mistake he made. Sure, should he be? There's millions of celebrities that do drugs all the time. They never get caught for it.
There's gotta be a
Jared
reason
Stoll was alleged for that cocaine thing, and those charges were dropped. These things happen, but the thing is not to scrutinize when it does happen, but to get them help. It's the same thing with the Mike Ribeiro thing. Yes, it's terrible that it happens, and he probably regrets it. Get the guy help that he needs, so it never happens again. And make it aware to players that this is what happens when these things happen, is that you will lose contract, you will lose, privileges that NHL players get, and you'll have to go into these programs, these rehab programs, so you can get better. Because you know what? It's got to be a point that you look at yourself and you say, and Mike Richards probably hates himself for it, where he looks at himself, he's like, I was at my peak in Philadelphia, and then I decided not to sign a cocaine disclosure, allegedly, to not do cocaine, and I've fallen from grace since then. Like, I've only gone downhill, which sucks because the guy had everything going for him. Everything. And now he's talked about as a cap liability, a drug addict, and a criminal now, which sucks. And I don't think it's fair.
Yeah, well, when you were the one who told me about the incident that happened at the border, which the reason 92 is probably reporting on is because it happened at the Emerson border. So that's in Manitoba.
Yeah.
It's the biggest border crossing that we have in Manitoba, I believe.
Yeah.
Allegedly he shoved them up his ass, and you were mentioning, or Greg was mentioning to me that he was like, oh, I mean, he could get out of it if he has because if you have a legal prescription for oxycodone for injuries, then it's okay. But I'm like, well, who crossing a border who has a legal prescription shoves that pill up their ass?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they were. There's a reason he did that.
It-
Allegedly, I hope. I want him. I'm with you, Greg. I want them to fix this.
I want the best for these players.
I like him. I think as a player, I like him. I'd love to see him back in the league. I'd love to see him on the Jets. I think he'd be a perfect third line guy for them.
How great would it be though?
And now that is, this is sounding bad. I'm thinking about salary, but now when he gets signed, someone can sign him for $1 million or a bargain. And then for him, if he can get back to his game, that's a bargain.
But it'll be a fresh new look on life as well.
It'll be a Brad Richards
It'll be
type thing
we're
where he gets a
chance
new deal, fresh start. Obviously, the personal things aside.
If he gets his personal affairs in order, let's say in the next year to 2 years, then maybe we could see him make a comeback when he's 30, 32. Like, he's not going to be that old at that point. If he puts like pressure on himself to get himself back to where he was when he was 23, 24, and he can put himself in that situation, he could have a glorious comeback to the NHL and probably put himself back in the good books of people. This is all kind of speculation that I've heard, but I've also heard he's not that nice of a guy off the ice to just random public people, because when you have everything handed to you, when you're being told you're the best at everything, you get a chip on your shoulder, you get some ego, and you don't become the nicest person because of it. And maybe this will change his outlook on life, saying that, like, I'm not as great as I think I am, that I have to change kind of my attitude. Because apparently his attitude was part of the problem in Philly and in LA. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully only the best for him to come. And then moving on from here, I want to touch on one quick thing. Positive note for everyone. That's Hall of Fame inductees for this year. Nick Lidstrom. Who else?
Sergei Fedorov.
Yep.
Chris Pronger.
Yep. And Phil Housley, former Winnipeg Jet.
Yeah, Chris Pronger, I believe he's got to be the first Hall of Fame inductee still being paid by an NHL player.
Yes.
To my knowledge.
So the way it works is you have to be not playing hockey for like 3 years, I believe.
Yeah, they changed the rule. It's not after you officially retire. It used to be 2 years after you officially retire you can be. Now it's just 3 years without playing hockey. You're good to go. So Lidstrom, Pronger, first ballot Hall of Famers.
Yes. And next year, there's going to be more first ballot Hall of Famers.
Who would those be?
Oh, no, it's not Tamu yet. But Tamu will be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
What if he isn't? Do we riot?
I think we riot.
I think
if
so.
he's not.
That's fair.
But I just want to say, on my Western Canadian tour, I went to Vancouver. It wasn't the fans doing that, because I didn't run into one Canuck fan. I was outside their arena. I took a picture of me flipping off the poster of Alexander Burrows. And anyone wearing a sports hat in Vancouver that I ran into, there's a gentleman in a coffee shop, and I was like, he was wearing a Pens hat. And I'm like, oh, a Pens fan? And he's like, what? And I'm like, are you a Pens fan? And he's like, what? And I'm like, your hat, Penguins. He's like, no, it's just a hat. And the burning hate I had inside my chest for people who just wear hats because of hats. Are you kidding me? Who are you? Anyways, I just wanted to say, Vancouver. You know how we got voted like #1 experience, like fan experience for NHL?
Yeah.
They were 30th. Coming from a fan like my friend who is a Jets fan, but he lives in Canucks, he says, "Oh, weekday games, you could walk up and there would be like maybe 11,000 people in the stadium, and you could walk up 5 minutes before game time and get tickets for like $30, and you'll be in the lower bowl."
In Vancouver?
In Vancouver, he said you walk up and
so
get.
they don't sell out their games.
They corporate sell out the seats, but he's like, no, they don't sell out seats. He says playoffs they show up. He's like very bandwagony, and I get it. There's other things to do in Vancouver. Yeah, and
lots of things, dude.
I was in.
They hide it very well on TV. Then.
Yeah, I was in Vancouver. In Calgary. I went for a tour of the Saddle Dome an hour before the Dougie Hamilton news broke. I was in the Calgary Tower when the Dougie Hamilton news broke, and I was so excited. I felt like I could have just jumped and flown to the Saddle Dome. I was like, yeah, Dougie! Woo! Yeah! I was very excited.
See, like, so now Calgary's back in your teams that you like? Because at the start of this podcast, they weren't.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, they're making moves, so they have to like them now.
Yeah, exactly.
You sound,
Apparently, Dougie Hamilton and Michael Furley give you equals Stanley Cup.
Must be.
I didn't say that.
That's what
I
Cam
didn't
said,
say it.
so-
I said either. Okay, you know what? Fine. If we're going to do this, I'm going on record. Within 3 years, 3. That's
They kill a
3. Death. Death. Blood. I'm saying 2 to 3 years, Calgary Flames will have a Stanley Cup.
Oh, I was thinking a different thing.
3 to 5 years, Edmonton's going to have a cup.
That's what.
4 to
okay?
6 years,
Are you
the
okay?
Flyers are going to have a cup.
That's
okay?
what Montreal Canadiens fans have been saying for years now.
Are you okay?
No, the West changed me. I don't like it there. I'm never going back. Everyone's beautiful. It's hot. They're all smiling.
If the Flames make the playoffs for the next 2 to 3 years, they should be happy. No, not to be cruel,
Dan.
but seriously.
Dan, when Calgary has like second in the West and the Jets squeak in playoffs and they have to play Calgary.
Yeah,
when your
because-
second line center is Brandon Bollig, you need problems.
Sorry, but when you have to play against the shitstorm that is the Arizona Coyotes, the shitstorm that is the San Jose Sharks, the shitstorm that is the Vancouver Canucks,
it's not their fault they have a team.
and the shitstorm that is the Edmonton Oilers.
That's fine. That's garbage. You guys get to play crappy teams too sometimes.
Oh yeah, when we go and play your division. Only when the Central plays the Pacific is... That's a break. They go through Death Valley, they're like, yeah, we like that shit, because going St. Louis, Nashville, Chicago sucks.
Yeah.
And then coming
it's
back...
not even nice there. Reba McEntire's never in town.
And then you go for a home-and-home with Minnesota, because that's easy.
Yeah. You don't even... No one knows.
And then Dallas comes out, and you're like, oh, this is an off night.
Guys,
No!
can we come
Sagan and Ben.
Hey,
Is the party still here? Damn it! Come on!
Jets, you got 20 games to make the playoffs. You play St. Louis 5 times.
Piss! It's going to be a great season. Oh! Guys, big news at the home household, the home residence. We got HD PVR.
Oh,
What?
shit. You didn't
What?
have one?
No, never. Well, I could watch
Are you getting
all-
center ice next year?
I have center ice.
Center
on my
Ice
computer.
next year is going to let
Oh.
you pick teams.
What do you mean pick
Like,
teams?
Subscribe to one team.
Like, Game Center?
Game
Through
Center.
Rogers?
I think so.
Game Center
It
or
might
TV?
be. It might be.
I'm
through
not
NHL.
watching anything that's made by
NHL
Rogers.
Game Center. NHL Game Center allegedly will allow you to subscribe to one team,
I want center ice. I don't
which
care
the
about
NFL
Game
should do, which I've been saying.
So you
forever.
can subscribe to one team for a cheaper price?
Yeah.
But will it be
Oh,
like
but
the
how-
same thing that the NFL does, where you get the game 3 hours after the game's done? Or
And
whatever?
the half of them will be blacked out.
Half. Oh, for NFL?
There's no for NHL. There's always blackouts on. Like if you were wanted to watch Jets games on center ice, they'd be.
There's
blacked
never
out.
blackouts for Flyers, but that's because they never show Flyers.
They're not in the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on. Yeah. If
I've
you were
never-
in
I
Philly-
I tried to explain this to
I
someone
still
who
don't
doesn't
understand.
understand sports, and I was like, "We need cable," because I was thinking about moving in with him. He's like, "Why?" I was like, "Well, if we ever want to have people over for Jets, we have to have cable." Well, there's Game Center and stuff like that. I was like, "Yeah, but it's
Not
blacked
when-
out. It's in our region." He's like, "That's stupid. I'm paying for something. Why can't I get a game?" Because you can get it for free with a TV subscription,
Yeah.
but I don't want cable. It's like, well, then we're not watching Jets games.
I'm not moving in
And
with
you
you.
couldn't,
then.
and you couldn't get
We're
that.
never having friends. There go. See those friends? Bye. Bye, friends.
Yeah.
We'll meet
No
you at
Jets
the
games.
bar. Yeah.
Yeah, unless you go to a bar.
Let me know the score, please.
Yeah, on this phone on a string I made. It goes all the way to the bar. I've been talking to a guy named Gil for like an hour.
Red Solo Cup.
Yeah, Red Solo Cup. I know.
I fill you up.
I learned a few country songs in Calgary.
Good for you.
You know what I've learned about country music?
What's up?
You
It's
don't.
awesome.
You don't need a brain to write the lyrics.
No, yeah, I
You
know.
don't.
It's
Why?
it's super
You can
straightforward.
literally pick words out of a hat and sing them in a hick voice, and it's fine.
Okay, so what you're telling me is sometime throughout the year, we each have to write 10 words, and we're gonna put it in a hat, and Greg's gonna sing a country song for
There
us.
we go.
Because we know how to sing a country song. Greg doesn't. So Greg's gonna sing us a country song out of the words we make. Any closing words, gentlemen?
Brad Richards and the Red Wings apparently are close to a 1-year deal. That's my
Alright.
final.
That something big is going to happen once we're done recording the podcast today.
Of course, always. With the Jets, too.
Yeah. And I want to make one quick non-hockey note. Last week, the Blue Bombers beat Saskatchewan in Saskatchewan. Woo!
First time in 9 years.
11 years.
11 years.
Really?
11,
That
yeah.
was 9.
No,
11. 11
Are we
hurts
counting
more.
regular and playoff season?
That's a regular
Doesn't
playoffs.
matter.
11 years going to
2004.
Regina, the city that rhymes with fun,
Yeah.
and winning.
Hey, Cam,
Where
is that,
did that come from? Because when I was in Regina, everybody said that. They're like, city that rhymes with fun. And I was like, no, it doesn't rhyme with fun.
No.
What are we getting at?
I think it's a hillbilly insider. I don't really know.
See, like, maybe it's something about sisters and cousins.
Okay. Yeah, that hurt. And I knew I was going to get it bad because people who I hadn't heard from in like over a year were like, I couldn't help notice the team sucks. Yeah. All right.
You
Well,
can't
thanks for
repair the
listening.
wounds that you do.
No, 10 years of crap talking caught up to me real fast, and I'm
Yeah.
still getting it.
We'll be back next week.
Thanks for listening.